Some photos are fascinating, others are downright chilling. Today we uncover 75 plus rare and creepy old photos, images that hold eerie secrets, forgotten mysteries, and moments lost to time. Welcome to Timeless Frames. Let's start. This image shows a man perched comfortably in the branches of a tall tree, deeply engrossed in his book. In an era without distractions from modern technology, this was perhaps the perfect reading nook, peaceful, high above the world below. This image shows detectives carefully searching a dimly lit apartment, piecing together a case that was both shocking and tragic. What started as an intimate moment turned into a fatal accident, leaving behind more questions than answers. This image is pure nightmare fuel. A child stands stiffly in a homemade Halloween costume, the mask unsettling in its blank expression. Before mass-produced costumes, homemade disguises often looked more terrifying than intended. This image captures a simple, joyful moment. Two young brothers laughing as they push and wrestle, lost in their own playful world. Decades before video games and smartphones, childhood fun was all about imagination and a little roughhousing. This image is eerie, a haunting black and white promo shot from The Mask, Canada's first 3D horror film. The unsettling visuals and surreal storytelling made it a cult classic, proving that psychological horror didn't need big budgets to leave a lasting impact. This image is heartbreaking. A young child, barefoot and in tattered clothes, sits on the porch of a worn-down home, tears streaming down his face. In an era of economic struggle, poverty was a harsh reality for many children in America. This image captures a doctor in protective gear, carefully inspecting a patient as disease spreads around them. During the deadly plague outbreak, medical workers risked their own lives in a desperate attempt to control the invisible enemy. This image shows a woman relaxing with slices of fruit carefully placed on her face, an early attempt at natural skincare. While today's beauty treatments rely on science, there's something timeless about using nature's ingredients to feel refreshed. This image is haunting. Men sit restrained in wooden devices, their heads and hands locked in place. These ancient punishment tools, designed for humiliation as much as pain, remind us how justice was once delivered in brutal and unforgiving ways. This image is both hopeful and tragic. A woman, her face wrapped in bandages to hold a forced smile, practices looking happy. At the Budapest Smile Club, those suffering from depression were taught to mask their pain with a grin, proving that even happiness was something that could be rehearsed. This image is pure joy. Four women huddle together inside a massive pair of oversized pants, laughing as they try to walk. In the midst of the Great Depression, sometimes a little silliness was the best way to escape the hard times. This image captures a group of people proudly displaying their fresh ink, some with impressive designs, others with questionable artistic skill. The contest may have been for fun, but for some, these amateur tattoos became permanent reminders of a bold or regrettable decision. This image is full of excitement. Blindfolded and gripping a stick, a little girl stands ready to take her swing. The piñata, bursting with hidden sweets, is moments away from sending a shower of candy to cheering children. This image captures a contortionist bending their body in ways that seem almost impossible. In an era of traveling circuses and vaudeville acts, performers like this amaze crowds, but their craft often came with pain hidden behind the spectacle. This image captures a surprising scene. Children laughing and playing alongside a bear, treating it like just another neighborhood friend. In Russia, bears were sometimes raised as pets, but seeing this kind of trust between wild nature and childhood innocence is both heartwarming and unsettling. This image is pure childhood joy. A young boy eagerly biting into a massive chocolate Easter egg, his face lit up with excitement. In a time when treats were rare, this was more than just candy. It was a moment of pure happiness. This image captures a chilling moment in history. A man being secured in an electric chair, his fate already sealed. The room is stark, the expressions grim, a reminder of justice's darkest side. This image is heartbreaking. A young boy standing beside his father, a kamikaze pilot preparing for a one-way mission. The father's expression is calm, but behind the photo is the weight of a final goodbye. This image features a woman wearing an unusual contraption designed to help her focus on reading. Whether a genius idea or just another forgotten invention, the photo captures an era fascinated by quirky solutions to everyday problems. This image is a haunting snapshot of life during the deadly Spanish flu epidemic. A young newspaper boy stands in front of a closed theater, his face partly covered by a mask, an eerie parallel to times we would face again a century later. This image shows a woman carefully holding a pill between her fingers, staring at it as if it holds a promise. In a time when pharmaceuticals were booming, ads like these made medicine seem like magic. This image features a group of Moscow firefighters displaying their equipment, each piece designed to battle flames in a rapidly modernizing city. The heavy wool uniforms and primitive gear remind us how dangerous firefighting once was. This image captures a well-dressed couple posing proudly with their dogs. In an era when photography was a luxury, even their pets seem to know they're part of something special, standing still, waiting for history to remember them. This image shows a model posing for a hauntingly dramatic photo in 1940. Draped in shadows, she dances with a figure meant to represent the devil. Whether as a playful artistic statement or something far more symbolic, the result is undeniably eerie. This image is a chilling reminder of history's darkest moments. Nazi officers conducted brutal hypothermia experiments on Jewish prisoners, forcing them into freezing water to test survival methods. What they called science was nothing more than cruelty disguised as research. This image captures a ventriloquist and his eerie wooden dummy, frozen in time. The dim lighting and lifeless stare of the puppet make it feel unsettling, almost as if it could speak on its own. This image shows a quiet street in Venice, captured just before the world was plunged into war. The beauty of the canals remains unchanged, but there's an eerie stillness, as if the city senses the storm ahead. This image features a group of women with extraordinarily long hair, cascading past their waists. In an era when long hair symbolized beauty and status, these women proudly display their striking locks for the camera. This image captures a group of men, their wide smiles frozen in time. Yet something about their expressions feels unnatural, too stiff, too forced, leaving a sense of unease long after you look away. This image shows two clowns standing side by side, their painted faces grinning in the dim light. Whether meant to entertain or terrify, their hollow eyes and exaggerated smiles make them truly unsettling. This image captures a group of children dressed as angels and shepherds, performing a nativity play. Though meant to be innocent, the faded black and white tones give it a ghostly, almost otherworldly feel. This image is unsettling, whether it's the strange lighting, the eerie expressions, or the way the figures seem frozen in time. It feels less like a moment from the past and more like a scene waiting to unfold into something terrifying. This image captures a doll with an unsettling grin, its glassy eyes staring blankly ahead. The cracks in its porcelain face and the faded fabric of its dress make it look less like a toy and more like something that remembers too much. This image shows a woman wearing an elegant yet mysterious mask, her expression hidden beneath the ornate design. Whether for a masquerade or something more secretive, the mask leaves more questions than answers. This image is truly unsettling. A nun stands in the shadows, her dark veil blending into the dimly lit background. There's something in her cold stare that feels unholy, making you wonder what secrets lie beneath her habit. This image is haunting. A pair of twins, dressed in their finest clothes, lie still in eternal rest. In an era when photography was a way to preserve memory, these somber portraits were a family's final goodbye. This image captures a group of children dressed as wolves, their homemade costumes rough and unnerving. Unlike today's playful costumes, these have an eerie, almost primal feel, making Halloween look more like a nightmare than a celebration. This image is filled with rows of smiling dolls, their lifeless grins frozen in time. The way they stare, identical, unblinking, creates an overwhelming sense of unease, as if they're waiting for something or someone. This image shows women in strange metallic beauty masks, their faces hidden beneath eerie contraptions. What was once meant to enhance beauty now looks more like something from a horror film, making you question if the treatment was worth the fright. This image captures resilience in its purest form. A man calmly reading amidst the ruins of a bombed-out bookstore. Even in the midst of war, knowledge and stories remained a refuge for those who sought comfort in words. This image freezes a moment of disaster, the massive airship engulfed in flames as it plummets to the ground. In just seconds, a marvel of aviation turned into one of history's most infamous tragedies. This image is both surreal and unsettling. A mother strolling casually with her baby sealed inside a protective pram designed to shield against chemical attacks. In a world preparing for the worst, even childhood wasn't spared from wartime paranoia. This image showcases a medical breakthrough, a surgeon carefully reconstructing a patient's face, paving the way for modern reconstructive surgery. For wounded soldiers and accident victims, this procedure offered a second chance at normalcy. This image is pure eccentricity, A woman confidently strolling down the street with a lobster on a leash. Whether a joke, a statement, or a fashion stunt, this bizarre moment remains delightfully puzzling. This image captures sheer courage. A man stands still as a gun is fired directly at him, putting his faith in the protective vest he's wearing. With his life on the line, the test was as real as it gets. This image is a painful reminder of racism's cruelty. A hotel manager, enraged by integration, pours acid into a pool to force black swimmers out. A moment of hatred forever frozen in time, exposing the depths of segregation-era discrimination. This image tells a powerful story. A young girl dressed neatly stands with early wooden prosthetic legs. Despite the limitations of the era, innovation gave her a chance at mobility, proving that resilience knows no time period. This image is like something out of a nightmare. Half-melted wax figures, their faces distorted and deformed, sit eerily in the aftermath of a fire. Once lifelike, they now resemble haunting ghosts of their former selves. This image is darkly unsettling, a disturbing ad promoting Adabrine, an anti-malaria drug, using shocking imagery to drive the message home. In an era before marketing regulations, fear was often the strongest selling tool. This image is almost unbelievable. Tiny cages attached to the sides of buildings, where babies were placed to get fresh air and sunlight, a bizarre mix of innovation and recklessness. It's a parenting method that thankfully didn't last. This image is as strange as it sounds. A beauty queen poses with a crown inspired by mushroom clouds, symbolizing the nuclear age's bizarre fascination with atomic power. It's a reminder of how glamour and danger were sometimes disturbingly intertwined. This image captures a nerve-wracking moment. A double-decker bus tilts dangerously to one side as part of a safety test. While passengers would later trust these buses daily, proving their stability took some bold experimentation. This image is both heartbreaking and powerful. Dr. King, calm and composed, removes a charred cross from his yard while his young son looks on. A symbol of hate turned into a testament of strength. This moment showed the true cost of fighting for justice. This image is surreal. A woman stands beside the disassembled head of the Statue of Liberty, a colossal piece of history waiting to be put together. Before she became a symbol of freedom, Lady Liberty was just a giant puzzle, awaiting her final form. This image captures a seemingly joyful moment until you look closer. The eerie smile of the clown and the stiff expressions of the family give this a strange, unsettling vibe. This image shows contestants for Miss Universe and Miss USA smiling for a photo, but something shocking happened. Miss New Zealand collapsed mid-shoot, yet the rest of the group kept posing as if nothing had happened. This image proves that dads have always enjoyed pulling pranks on their children. The expressions tell a story of playful mischief that transcends generations. This image is often mistaken for a Russian mental asylum from the 1950s. In reality, it shows German ballerinas stretching their calves, using special wall fixtures to assist them. This haunting image is from the silent horror classic Hexen, Witchcraft Through the Ages. Its eerie, almost surreal depiction of witches and rituals still sends chills down the spine. This image captures the resilience of people in the war-torn city of Hue. Even with destruction all around them, they go about their daily routines as if the war isn't happening. This chilling photograph shows the crowd watching the lynching of Abram Smith and Thomas Shipp. Their expressions range from amusement to indifference, a haunting reminder of the horrors of racial violence. This image features a ventriloquist in his dummy, but something about the doll's lifelike eyes makes it truly unsettling. A classroom full of children wearing Mickey Mouse masks creates an eerie, almost cult-like image. The uniformity and fixed expressions make it look more like a horror movie scene than a school activity. This unsettling image captures a medical experiment meant to remove freckles. The patient wears a contraption that looks more like a torture device than a beauty treatment. In an effort to prevent rickets, doctors expose children to artificial sunlight. This image shows a child receiving the treatment, strapped into an unusual machine. A man walks past the dimly lit entrance of a club in Paris, capturing a moment of nightlife mystery and intrigue. This image captures a Soviet military exercise where soldiers practiced for chemical attacks. The eerie gas masks and fog-like conditions make it feel almost apocalyptic. This heartbreaking image shows a child locked away in a special section for mentally ill children. The lonely figure behind the bars tells a tragic story, a macabre performance captured in a single frame. This act played on themes of death, making it both theatrical and haunting. A bizarre, low-budget horror film, this promotional image captures its surreal and unsettling aesthetic. A little girl stands just inches from live alligators at a farm, a common tourist attraction at the time, but today it looks like an accident waiting to happen. This chilling photo shows medical students casually playing cards with a corpse in the anatomy lab. A dark sense of humor or a way to cope with the realities of their profession? This haunting image captures the painful and cruel tradition of foot binding, which was once a status symbol, but left many women unable to walk properly. We've uncovered some of the creepiest and rarest photos from history, but there's still so much more waiting to be explored. If you found this fascinating, you won't want to miss what's next. Click on the video on your screen and dive deeper into the forgotten past. See you there!